up on today's show, part 2 of the Hind. We're seeing how we got on with that one, finishing off the cockpit and installing a lot of the sub-assemblies. Tornado part 5, cracking on with that kit, absolutely fantastic, loving every minute of it. We cover masking in that one and really bringing it all together. Got a review for you this week from Meng. This is their new Ford 350 in 1/24 scale, looking a nice kit. We look at how I did the Tornado, the actual sensor chin pod for this one. You don't get the clear part, so I show how I made it out of clear screw and super glue. Plus we've got all your news, reviews and gossip. Hello, welcome to Flory Models. I'm Flory. Funny week because obviously we've got building work going on, so I'm filming at night and everything else like that, which makes things a little bit tricky. Apologies in some of the videos if I look like I've turned into an Oompa Loompa or got a bad tan. Purely as the sun goes down, it comes through that window and it's changed the white balance look, so it looks like I've got a great tan before I've gone on holiday. So that's the thing with that. So if you are noticing the colours being a little bit funny, that's the reason why. Hopefully next week we'll be able to get this sort of 2 weeks time even back to normal, because hopefully most of the building work will be done here. So this week, what have we been up to? First of all, we started on the Tornado. So we've actually gone through, we've got part 5 up on the site now, and we talk about this one, actually putting it together. Again, my mistake, I got a little bit ahead of myself, wasn't looking at the instructions, and ended up putting these wing plates, you can see here on the top, on the wrong way round. So we got the tops to bottoms, bottoms to tops, and had to redo it. Luckily I catched it. You can also hear, yes, this is because when you watch the part you'll see, and I say always PVA glue it in place because it's a stronger grip than certainly using super glue in case it comes loose. Then you'll hear me say, oh, I'm just going to whip the nose on because I can't be bothered to wait for with the PVA glue. So, and yeah, it's reason why I sort of, you know, do as I say, not as I do, okay? This kit is one of those things where the kit itself is perfect. It's me making all the errors with it, but it's a lot of fun and going down well. We cover obviously masking, so we speak about quite in depth about masking it up and going through all the different options you have with your masking, fitting the glass work, talking about the glass work going in and all things like that, and really getting us to this stage. So short of doing the gear, I've only got now to do that bit, couple of little bits on it, and it's ready for paint. So I might even start painting that before I go away on Wednesday. Next up we got the Hind. We've got here, so this is the cockpit for the Hind. You're seeing this with our new camera angle. This is our new HD high def macro lensed camera, which is absolutely lovely. So hopefully you can see all of that in glorious detail and everything else like that. As I said, with this particular one, what we're trying to do is sort of, you know, improve what we've got in various simple techniques, as I call it. So one of the ones, we've gone around and we've put this framework down at the back, really easy, it's just a little bit of plastic card. We've then used the photo etch set to liven up some of the areas. So we've got the internals, as you can see down here. So we've got this framework going in, we've got a few more bits and pieces to go in there. We're going to liven it up with plumbing, so we're going to be using lead wire, styrene, things like that to go in there. We've also taken care of a few of the simple little areas which are a great fit considering its age. So we've got the all famous pylons done and put together, so they're in there. And then we've got our little box of tricks which I've been working on. These are all the little tiny sub-assemblies. So we've got things like the wheels put together here, some of the little framework you can see, we've got the gear put together, that's quite nice. And we've got the engine. Now the engine, as you'll hear on this one on part 2, which you've got today, I'm just about to start painting that, and that's what I'm going to do this afternoon and then the beginning of next week. So hopefully by then we'll have the two halves together, it can be drying whilst I'm away and everything else like that. So you might have guessed, I'm away next week. From Wednesday afternoon, probably midday, I'll leave here until Thursday early hours following. We're away. The site is still open, you can still subscribe, you can do all your bits and pieces, you can still order, but orders obviously won't be processed until the Thursday, week on Thursday when we come back. Okay, so when we're back Thursday morning, I'll sit down and do all the orders and then they'll go out. So there's no point ordering necessarily early part of next week for a next day or something else like that, because you're not going to get it. We're away with Snap. Most of you know what Snap is. Snap is a charity that me and Mel help out on. We're just helpers. It's for disabled kids and handicapped kids and all the rest of it and special needs. We basically take them away to somewhere nice and hot and sunny and give them a week's break and things like that. It's a lovely thing. We've got a thing on the site. I'll link to it and everything else. What I'd like to do, like we did a bit last year, I'm going to put together a prize package with kits that you guys have donated as well. Some of you have been very generous and donated kit over the last year and things like that. So I'm going to put it all together as a prize package package. I'm going to do a special little video of it early next week, and then whilst I'm away, we're going to have a sort of an open auction on the forum, okay? So you put down how much you want to go for, and then obviously the highest bidder will win the entire selection of kits, and then every single penny will go to obviously Snap, and I'll cover all the costs for postage and the admin bits and pieces and things like that. So that would be a very nice package. It's going to be worth probably a couple of £100. All right. So if you are interested, if you are a non-member, I will post it up on the site and you can bid as well. But obviously, being a non-member, I don't know you. Okay. So obviously, we all need a little bit of proof and things like that. So great cause, great work, and everything else. As I say, me and Mel absolutely love doing it because it's lots of fun with some really great people. So as I said, you can still subscribe because obviously we're only going to Spain and not Mars, so I've still got my phone on me, so I can still sort out any problems and all the various bits and pieces with it. It's just if you are ordering, please allow a bit more time because it's not going to be sent out. There will be things all over about the site on it, but certainly I know some of you don't sort of pay attention to these things. So there we go, that's that one. Because of the chaos that's going on here and everything else like that, I forgot to do the prize draw at the beginning of the month. Sorry about that, everybody. Those of you who have put in this month thinking it was July's perhaps, it's not, so I've deleted you. So if you've entered the prize draw this week, you're going to have to do it again because I deleted you from June's and everything else like that. But anyway, the randomizer did pick out the new randomizer one, and the number came up, and it was for Andrew Beers. Okay, he's won last month's prize draw, which I do believe was a set of washers, was it, or sanders, and the year's free subscription. So congratulations to you. I'll be emailing you shortly after I do this show, and you can let me have your address and I'll get those bits off to you. Fibre optic, as I've got down here, big bold letters in my notes. Fibre optic, yes, as of this morning, and I do have to say, where are we? I've got my thing here. Here's my watch. You can see we've got London time now. It's 11:15 on a Friday, all right? Now, the amazing thing is, if this was normal, you wouldn't get the new show now till Sunday morning, because by the time I have edited this and done this, that'll take me to around about 4 o'clock, then start uploading it. It takes just under 48 hours currently, or did, to upload it. Just to prove this, I did a upload of last week's news show again, okay, and it uploaded it in an hour. Brilliant, that was it, absolutely fantastic. So we've got our new fibre optic. I do have to thank Kieran, who sorted out our engineer who was here this morning, and I have to say at 7:45 was pretty good, Kieran. I don't know how much you pay him, but it's clearly too much because he was here very, very early. We've had our new line tested, fitted and everything else, and we're now getting 89 megabytes download, I can report, and 27 megabytes upload with a ping of 10. See, I am now officially in the 21st century, which is lovely because, as you might know, I came from a good internet area. When we moved here 2 years ago, we went down to 250 kilobytes. That's like, you know, for Christ's sake, you can't upload anything like that. So I'm hoping now, if you get this at some point, obviously I've got to allow for me to edit it and everything else, but I'll tell you the time I started uploading it in the notes, footnotes for this program, and how long it took to get up there. But if you are thinking about going with BT, you know, go option 2, and it's fantastic. And apparently we're the only one on the system at the moment as well, so that's probably why we're getting an amazing rate. But anyway, absolutely loving it. Thank you to Kieran for sorting all this out for us at BT, and he's a member as well, so well done everybody who took part in helping us get it back into the 21st century. And hopefully now I won't have this big delay of videos going up. You can all get them as and when they go up, instead of being in a pile just going up one after the other and all the rest of it. Right, what do we got next? We're going to talk about this little guy. Now this guy here is for the Tornado. Okay, now what it is, the Tornado kit itself, the IDS one we're working on at the moment, it is the German version. You've only got the German bits in there, but there is some bits left over, if you like, or going to be, for the GR1 stroke GR4 kit, which I'm sure Revell are going to release shortly, okay? And being a guy who can't wait, I had to knock this up. So you get the base bit down here at the back, but you don't get the clear part because the clear sprue, whichever it is, doesn't come with it. Sorry. Ugh. Here's our clear sprue of it, you see, and actually what you get up here at the top here is a gap, and on that gap would be a bit that looks just like this, okay? So what I've done is I fashioned this out of using a little bit of clear sprue and some super glue. So let's have a look. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to be making this as a GR1 Tornado. Now, straight out of the box, obviously it's not a GR1, it's the IDS, it's the German version. The big difference is the pod underneath the chin. Now, quick lesson, down under here, obviously we've got nothing on as per the German one, okay? GR1 has a targeting, it's not actually a targeting, it's a sensor pod on this side, okay, and then the GR4 has 2 pods, one each side underneath the chin, making it quite recognisable between the 2 difference. Great thing is, in the kit you get the pods, okay, but it doesn't actually mention it in the instructions anywhere, because obviously later on we're going to have, they'll probably do a GR1/4 version, okay. Trouble is, the pod we need, which is this guy here, which is the fatter, number 172, okay, doesn't have the glass bit on the front, because when you look at it, and here's a picture, as you can see here, it's clear at the front, top and bottom are solid, okay, so it can actually see through, and it does have a bar at the in the middle of it. So what I'm thinking is, okay, how are we going to do this? It's quite a large lump, and I was hoping I'd have some leftover sprue, clear sprue, which I could work with. Unfortunately, all I've actually got is, or the biggest I've actually got isn't quite big enough, okay. So what I'm going to do is we're going to laminate 2 together. So to start with, we're just going to clean up this pod, and because I didn't actually remember when I was putting in there, I haven't opened up the hole, but it's quite easy to do because the front of it comes to the front of the actual main door. Okay, so if we just grab a sponge here, we'll just clean this guy just a little bit, one side and the other. Now, I know this isn't going to be perfect, and the purists out there, the rivet counters, are always like, oh, it's too long, you need to, you know, so I'm not that worried about it. It's literally just for effect this, so this is what we're trying to do. So what we've got here is a couple of bits of clear sprue. Now, if we look at these, they're not that far out, okay, they're good width, just they're not quite long enough, okay, and the thing is they're slightly tapered. So what I'm going to do is, I'm thinking we're going to go side by side, okay, so we'll have 2 like this, okay, so we'll have 2 parts of it like this, because it's going to have a join, but when you look through it, it should be still clear. Well, that's what I'm hoping for. And then if you can imagine, these 2 side by side should be around about the right thickness as I sort of grab it with my finger, and we can taper and blend in and everything else that's needed. So to start with, we need to take off this little raised area here. So we're just going to sand this off so it's all completely flat. Okay, so we've got a bit there, then it's easier to push it down and do it than it is holding the actual file in your hand, because otherwise you tend to round off corners. But if you do it this way, you tend to get a far better finish. So we just take that out. I have got huge bits of acrylic rod, really thick, you could do the same thing with, but I'm thinking by the time you've sanded and put into shape, this will probably be just as quick, okay? So we've got those done. So what we do now is I just want to take an edge off one, just to give us more of a 90-degree look to it. And on the other side. So what I intend to do is glue this all together. We're going to let it stand for a little while, for a couple of hours, or certainly overnight, and then we can come in the morning and just sand it completely into shape once it's completely solid. Okay, so that's our 2 areas done. That's those nice and blended in and flat. So then what we'll be able to do is hopefully glue both of these into position. Just going to take a little bit more off this side. There we go. Okay, now for this I'm actually going to use super glue, purely because it's a speed thing and we sort of need this to hold and to get in there. Alright, so we're fine with how that one is. So what we're going to do is just put a blob in the middle. I know that one is. Let's see what we'll do. We'll glue these both together first. The other thing you notice, if your super glue is old, it never quite has that bite like it did. Okay. Alright, and what we're going to do is I'm just going to change my, I think what we're going to do is glue this totally on, and then we're going to worry about it all afterwards, once it's all in there. So we know it curves from the outside in a little bit more. Okay, so we're just sticking myself to it. Okay, just going to take a drop of super glue, and we're just going to run it all the way around this guy, literally all over it, just like this. Off the mat before we super glue our mat, but the idea is this will completely encase, so then we can literally just come along and sand this guy in to shape. I'm actually quite happy with that. So what we're going to do, tiny bit of kicker. Okay, bit of air. Just to get this all to start to go. Something like that. Originally I was going to let it go, but actually that's gone so well. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab the vise, going to bring this guy in just in here. Now the point to using a vise, which I know you probably can't see very well, but give us a sec. Ooh. Put it somewhat like this, hopefully you'll be able to see it. Is I can actually place the item in the vise, and then as we're sanding it and that, we should have quite a good effect. So what we're going to do, just take off this edge, and I think we can probably use a razor saw, just trim it down just a little bit, so hopefully you can see it at the bottom of your screen. Getting a bit close there, if I'm honest. A bit too close. Okay, so there we go, that's our part in there, just like that. So all we've got to do now is sand it into shape. Okay, so what we're going to do is just take a few moments of sanding. So I won't bore you to death with this bit because it's going to take quite a while just to get in there, because we want to keep it all to that nice shape and everything else as we work our way around all of this. So bear with me. Okay, so as you can see, really getting there now. Okay, the only thing is we just need a little bit more bulk around this top area. At the top here, it's got a little sort of chip out of it. So actually what you can do is build up with super glue. Now all you do, put a little bit of super glue on the area you want. So we'll put a drop around the beginning, hold it upside down, let it dry. Okay, if you can't be bothered to wait, bit of kicker. Okay, pop it on, and then if you hold it, obviously because of the gravity it's pulling down, it should give you the rough shape. Now I just want to increase the bit at the top, so I'm just going to go a bit at the top, hold it upside down, and hopefully the camera, or one of them, I know it's really difficult to see, but you might be able to see we've got a little ball hanging underneath. Okay, that's what we're trying to do, just build that area, bit kicker. Okay, if you get smoke coming off and cracking, don't panic, just don't put your fingers near it, it's just the action as it's going on. Okay, so I've got a few little holes around it. So what I'm going to do is just going to cover the entire thing in super glue. And you might notice it actually goes very clear I'm about ready to drip here. But you can actually now work your glue. It's a little bit like glass blowing now, because you're sort of revolving this around, and I'm sorry if you're not getting the angles, but I'm more worried about mine at the moment to get this right. But by doing what I'm doing, and this is just rolling it around, it's drying in those areas, it will give you a nice look. Now if you wanted to, instead of using acrylic, you could do it this way, but it'll take you quite a while because obviously we had to build up an area. But don't panic about it being quite clear or quite cloudy. Super glue, when you polish it, will go crystal clear as long as you haven't got any air bubbles inside it. And don't use too much kicker, because kicker generates heat, you get bubbles inside it. Alright, so we're just going to lock some of this in. Okay. So again, we're just running it round, building it up everywhere. Okay. Actually, we've just like doubled the length of it this particular time. Okay. And I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but we have got smoke coming off of it. I don't know how well you can actually see that smoke coming off. But you can see now, instead of it being quite small, it's actually quite a lump. All done with super glue. It's a little thing. You can do nav lights like it. I know a lot of guys, they'll come in and they'll actually do this to do navigation lights, and what you can actually do is put in a layer like this, then put in some red or green for the actual light itself, and then put another coat over the top. I think personally it's a little bit of a long-winded way when you can just use the parts and do it, but if you do lose your nav lights, you can use super glue and do it this way. And there we go, that's dry. Okay, so that's our little shape of the guy there. If we just drop this top cam down a bit, you can see. So we've gone from what we had to before to this. So I think we've got the correct length now. Okay, we've definitely got the right build up and everything else. So what we need to do now is literally just sand this all totally into shape. So taking our sander, but you might be able to see it's actual crystal clear in some areas on this. Other areas obviously is fog, but by the time we polish this all up, we should be absolutely fine. So we're using a medium sanding stick. Okay, we're just going to try and get our general outline shape. So obviously this is very squared at the end, quite a bit on that one. We just use a stronger file. Okay, so we want our overall shape, and then once we've got our overall shape, we'll then start putting it into a point. Okay, so that's that one, and now obviously we've got to take this top off, okay, to flatten it down. But as you'll notice, when you're filing super glue like this, it's extremely hard. That's why we don't use it as a filler, because everything around it will sand away and you'll just be left with super glue and no plastic or anything else. But as you say, it's a nice demo in showing you building up with it. So excuse me whilst I just take our time. So we're just trying to continue this shape now to bring this up to the right area. So I'm just doing it roughly for the moment. So I'm pretty happy with how that is. Just going to bring the bottom round. Okay, I'm happy with the length, so we're just going to square the length off now so it's nice and flat. It's got a slight downward kink to it. Okay, really happy. And then what we've got to try and do now is, now we've got the actual overall shape, we'll just check it to how it's going to be. Yeah, I think by the time we sand in a little bit more, we should be absolutely fine. It should actually look the part quite nicely there. Okay, so then what we're going to do is just bring this, taper it in. Okay, keeping it flat. Okay, just trying to bring it in. You could probably, if you've got a machine, do this a lot quicker, but the only trouble is you run the risk of pinging it off. Okay, actually really happy with that side now. It's actually coming in quite nicely. Now it does go basically to a point, so what we're going to do is going to lay it down now and see if we can't get it down to a point. Okay, looking good. Now the other side. This is one of those times where sometimes you impress yourself. I don't want to template and have it ping off the end yet, but actually this is coming in to being very, very nice. Okay, so just looking apart. The other thing as well, just be careful how much you do this, because this is actually getting quite hot. Okay, so this is looking good. So what we're going to do now is just bend up the bottom. I don't know how much to a sharp point it is, but we're going to take it pretty much in just to a blunter side now. This is a finer grit just to polish this in. Okay, I'm sure this one just tacks up just a little bit. We're just trying to keep it smooth. And there we go. I'm pretty happy with that. Now if we wet it, we have, or by the time it's painted, there's our pod all done. Now don't forget, it needs to be masked up, because actually what happens is it has obviously like a window on both sides that you can see right the way through. But I'm pretty happy how that is. That's given us exactly what we've wanted there. We got our shape. Alright, it's not crystal clear, but if I continue to polish this and get the buffers out and all the rest of it, we should be able to get the, you know, it quite clear. You know, we can start putting a shine into it. Okay, as you can see, now we're getting clear. Polish up this glass. You can see we're going to be alright. I think we're going to get away with that. So there we go. I'm actually really chuffed with that. Sometimes you do things that impress yourself. That's definitely one of them. Okay, so there we go. That's about using super glue, building it up. Just take your time with it. Sand a little, have a go. Sand a little, have a go, and just build it up gently in layers like we've done there. Okay, and there we go. That's our little chin pod, and saved us waiting for the GR1 kit to come out. Okay, so there we go. That's about using super glue. Is absolutely great. Don't be frightened to use it. Just don't put your finger near it, and when it's crackling, don't overheat it. Otherwise, you do tend to get little spots and air holes and things in there and everything else. And I know this isn't totally clear, and that's because I've got sprue in there, and I shouldn't have used sprue. You could just do it with super glue and build it up. Just take your time with it and build it up gently, and you have no problems with it at all. Kicker just helps out, just speeds things up, because you can get on with it there and then. But that was really just 5 minutes work as we go through. Members, you'll get the full version of that, obviously, in next week's show, which will be part 6 for the Tornado. We'll cover that in detail about it a lot more. That was sort of the cut down version, but certainly that's how I've got around that problem, which really pushes that build on really, really nicely. The observant of you might recognize, obviously we've got a new camera angle, so this is why you're getting this lovely clear, or hopefully crystal clear feed here coming in. We've got a new HD high def macro lensed camera, which hopefully now will give you the sharpest image you can imagine. Okay, and it's in a good area. So I've got a new area. Obviously we've got these cameras all above me. I've got 3 up here now, and we've got 4 over there with you guys. I used to have another one up here. I ditched that for the new one that's over there, as that camera angle I've been finding is just in the way. Okay, so I'm thinking the ones on the side aren't very good, and we're just going to go all above now. So 3 cameras above, and then you guys over there. So we've got a wide, the super macro camera, and a standard over the top of us, and then obviously you guys in front. So let us know how the feedback on this one as it comes in line. Let me know if you like it, if you don't, if I'm in the way, if I'm not, and everything else, and hopefully I can play with some of the angles for you. Next up, we've got the Meng 350 review. Okay, kit review time. Today we've got Meng's new Ford F350 truck. This is 1/24 scale, something a little bit different. As you can see, it comes in this nice sort of sheath box, okay, little protector cover, it's quite nice. Okay, lovely box art, as you can imagine, 124 scale Super Duty crew cab, obviously it's twin. I presume it's obviously endorsed by Ford and all the things that go with it, as you can imagine. It's nice little pictures all the way round. Kit number is CS001. Some nice details at the back there. 2014, the important bit, and everything else just like that. So, in the box we get a very stuffed full of all the bits. See, plenty in here going on, which is great. So let's just start in here. So, straight up, we've got, I'm assuming this is pre-cut. Yeah, so we've got a pre-cut, which is quite a nice touch here for the actual instrument, sorry, the windscreen. Okay, all the way around there. So that'll save you a little bit. I presume you don't get anything else. Okay, we've got a very nice set of decals as well. So that's not too bad. All right, so usual thing, got instrument panels and the vehicle things. We've got here, which is, I haven't seen anyone do this for a while, but we've got here self-adhesive mirrors. Okay, so obviously for the rear view mirror and the rest of them. So another nice little touch. And we've got the old Chinglish instructions. Okay, so usual thing, we've got some gumph about the actual truck itself, working our way through. Obviously we speak about here about obviously the die cut masking set, but also about the electroplated parts, which has obviously got a lot in there, I should imagine. All right, so we can talk about that in a moment. What you've basically got is the standard, just drop the camera down a little bit closer. You can see, so working on brake hubs, so we've got the actual poly caps in there, which is quite a nice touch, means the wheels come on and off. Making the chassis right the way through, obviously the sub-assemblies, various things going on with the suspension and the track and everything else like that. Wheels going on, fuel tank in, nice work on the engine. It's one of those kits I think it'll lend itself quite well because you can do a lot with it. Okay, a little bit of detailing up yourself with the wiring perhaps. Usual things going on down here. Then we're making our way into the interior with the dashboard. You know, there's so much you can do with vehicles where you don't when you're dealing with aircraft day to day and everything else. Things like flucking and everything like that is where you actually put in like a carpet effect and all those things. There's lots of things like that out there. If you haven't done vehicles before, have a look because it does go on. Okay, windows and all the glass work going in, as you can imagine, and that's it. Obviously talking about where we've got our the actual die cut set to go in that one. Mirrors, handles, things like that all going in. Actual bonnet system, wipers, these are those mirrors that we spoke about earlier. Side steps, obviously the bumpers, or fenders, depending where you are in the world. Okay, and then obviously we've got the wings, the actual bed itself. Okay, right the way through, very nice stuff. Nice touch having the bed as a separate fit as well, and obviously you can have the bonnet open, which after you've done all that work with the engine you'd probably want to do. Okay, then you've got the colour call outs. I wonder if these are genuine colour call outs, but anyway, obviously black, your red, your green, but I presume you could do it any colour you like really at the end of the day. So what do we actually get in here? First up, as I say, I haven't looked in these before, so it's all new to me. We've actually got the actual cab itself, which actually looks very, very nicely done. It's obviously a one-piece mould just out at the bottom, but it's actually quite a nice effect. Don't take any notice of this sort of webbing and things going on there like that, because quite frankly that doesn't mean anything at all. It just means it's just the way it's moulded in. But certainly as for the rest of it, quite a nice touch. Some nice details, the grille work, things like that. It's just that it's a quite complex shape. If you imagine that's injection moulding, to get detail on the side all the way round, basically all the way around it, isn't easy, and the rear as well. So if you imagine the mould sort of coming in from everywhere to do that, so quite a nice touch with that one. Glass work we'll look at last. Okay, electroplated plastic. It's a bit like chroming. Basically, they put a voltage through it. The particles are, I think they're negatively charged or positively, one or the other. Anyway, they're attracted to it, which gives you the effect of chrome, which sounds lovely, and to be honest, as you can see here, looks absolutely stunning. The trouble is though, as soon as you come at it with glue, or obviously when you take them off with a sprue, you get plastic underneath, because I take it is, and we'll have a quick look, when you get through it, you've got standard, it's grey styrene underneath. Sometimes they do it clear, but this is grey styrene underneath. So what that actually means is you're going to get left with all these marks when you remove them. Now, depending on where they are, they can be nothing but a pain, or they can be quite handy because they're not actually anywhere that shows, and it looks like these are going to be pretty much off the scale. If you notice the way that they're actually attached to the sprues, like down here, it's on the back side of it, so you shouldn't have a trouble. A lot of people don't like this stuff, so what they actually do is strip it off. Now, how do you strip it? Quickest way to do it, slice your bag like I've done, but a little bit more carefully, okay? Pop your sprue in it, okay, if you have taken it out, alright, and then basically fill it up with an oven cleaner. Persil Power Spray in the UK is a great one for it, but you can put, I know people are putting full fat Coke into this as well, or your colas. Tip it in, seal it up, leave a small gap, okay, but only a small one because it will need to breathe, okay, and then leave it overnight. Every now and again, give it a shake around. I'll tell you what else does it, you can buy in the UK, and I'm sure you get around the rest of the world, is oven cleaner bags. They will do the same trick. Give it a good old rinse around, everything else like that. Next day, bung it in some hot soapy water and it'll all fall off and you're just left with plastic. Then you've got to try and rechrome it. So various options with buffables and things like that, but it is a way around that problem. Okay, into the engine. So we have the engine down here. So as you can imagine, we've got the grille, which seems to be very nicely detailed. To be honest, the engine's pretty much bland, but if it's anything like my lump outside I've got, you can't see it because it's under a plastic cover anyway. All right, but certainly everything seems to be quite nicely detailed. We've got quite a good look at the parts and everything else, as you can imagine. Seems to be very nicely done. No sign of really any problem with ejector pin marks. They're a little bit heavy, but I think they're probably going to be out of the way. They're not in any of the parts that show to be a problem. The seats, some interior detail we've got going on here. So here we have, we've got the roof lining going in there. Pretty much nothing going on there. The seats, very bland. It's very difficult to sort of do fabric seats and all things like that, obviously in plastic, but those look a little bit two-dimensional, shall we say, perhaps a little bit chunky. I don't know what these are. Looks like they're supposed to be backs of the seats or something else like that, perhaps. Yeah, they are, the backs of the seats, all those parts there. But we've got, you might be able to see, we've got down here, we've got the steering wheel, we've got the foot pedals and everything else. Nothing that would jump out and excite you, to be honest. Okay, so here we have the underneath the main body. So this is the actual underside of the vehicle. We've got the instrument panel, which to be honest isn't exciting that much at all. Generally not too bad, but nothing get excited. They've obviously taken off all the ejector pin tabs off for you. There would have been like this one down in here, which I might be able to get off. Try and get off. Okay, let me get him out. Here we go. So they just come off like that. They've done all that for you, which is quite a nice touch. But as you say, I know it's a vehicle, it's just, I don't know, I thought it might get a little bit more detail. Okay, so we've got a little bit going on here. So we've got the grille, as you can see, the floor pans, things like that. These are the side steps, sorry. Got the mirror detail and everything else. You know, as you say, I don't know what I was expecting. I just thought it might be a little bit more detailed than this. But, you know, I suppose you add all those different parts yourself. But hopefully, as you can see, it's not too bad at all. I'm testing a new camera angle if you're wondering why you're on the left instead of the right. Okay, these bags are a bit weird as well. They're very thick. Okay, so we've got the hood or bonnet. Okay, check me out, be bilingual. Quite nice. We got, I don't know if they're supposed to be, I don't know, as you say, they could be part of the furniture on the actual underside of the hood, or your bonnet system with these holes, or there could be ejector pin marks, not too sure. Bit nasty, got all these tabs to get rid of here, but at least they are sort of surface mounted tabs. Tailgate, the actual tail itself, again, quite a nice little touch there. Okay, and then down here we've got the axles, relief springs, the exhaust system, poly caps. Okay, so big old springs on these, quite nice touch. Generally what you would expect. It's, if I'm honest, it's very clean and crisply moulded. That's the thing. It's nothing that you would actually could harp on about having a problem with. All the ejector pins are well out of the way, which is a nice touch. Okay, 2 sprues to go. So what do we have here? So coils, It would have been nice to have some metal coils perhaps in this one. If it had some coils you could actually fit in and do. I have seen those in other kits. Transmission box down the back, the gearbox down there, that's pretty nice. The actual shaft itself, it's got the boots on it, things like that, again quite nice. Yeah, I don't know, it's just I was expecting more. I don't know what you'd ever expect in a truck, but kit. But not being a truck kit person, I don't know what I was expecting. Okay, boot liner, or the tail liner, things like that. We've got the rear wings down here. Again, quite nicely done. It's almost done in a metallic plastic, which is really odd and weird, but there you go. Okay, but you say, nice touch with that, having the actual liner for the boot. I don't suppose a lot of point getting this one out here, although we will. The actual chassis itself. So we've got some quite nice details on these, as you can imagine, all over. No sign of any problem with ejector pins. I presume it's a one-piece ejected out the bottom here, but everything seems quite nice. No problems there. Okay, the glass. The important bit, or as I think, probably the most important bit of the kit. Okay, this is what I do like. They do wrap these in these little, sorry, mountain of bags in front of you here, in this clingy stuff, which is great because it can't get it off. Come on. Here we go. Come on, you've got to come off because I need to know what you like. You can make or break this review. Okay, so looking down, not bad at all. I don't know if you can see that, but I can see no distortion in any of those or whatsoever. Even the headlights, they're pretty good, but there's no distortion in any of this glass. Catch it on all the angles here. Very nicely done. I have to say, hats off there, that's lovely. There's not a single blemish or a mark on there. So that's very, very nice. What I'm going to do is carefully put this back, because obviously later on I'm bound to make a hash of it and scratch it up or something. Okay, last up, the wheels. Okay, so as you can imagine, we've got rubber tyres. We won't get them all out. Nice and squidgy and flat, which is nice because it will give that effect of weight on wheels. Okay, we've got no centre seam in these at all. They seem to be very, very nice. Nice tread pattern. Okay, all the way through, no sign of any marks. So we've got little tiny dits out of it all the way round, which aren't anything wrong, but I imagine they might not sit on the hub particularly nicely. But as I said, I could be proven wrong on that. And they're trademarked as well. They are Continental tyres. So there we go, just something a little bit different, something I'm going to have a go at, because I'm a great believer in when you're modelling you can hide everything through weathering, i.e. you can actually get away with being quite bad at seam lines in your paintwork, because all you do is put a little bit of weathering on it and you get around that problem. But certainly if you're doing something like a truck and you're having it as a pristine finish, and that's the type of effect I'm going to go for this, literally straight out of the showroom look, that we're going to want to make every joint perfect. We don't want any glue marks, we don't want any fingerprints. The paint job's got to be immaculate. So stay tuned to us, this will be appearing later in the year. Okay, so there we go, an absolutely lovely kit, and it's something I'm going to be doing, as I spoke about during the view. Not that I'm saying I'm bad, but I can hide a lot of stuff through weathering, shall we say. It's quite easy. You've got a bit of a dodgy mark, give it some weathering, and you can lose it quite easily. When you're doing something as a pristine finish, especially if you're doing a gloss, you don't have that luxury. Okay, so you have to be careful and be very, very precise, obviously, with your gluing, your filling, your joins, even your sanding off and removing from tabs and things like that. So certainly that's why I'm going to be doing this one, to show about doing a pristine, perfect, you know, a detailed build like this. So later on in the year I am going to be cracking on with this kit to show about doing gloss work again and working with chrome and that type of effect and polishing and things like that. So look forward to that one. But it seems to be very nice, a little bit boring on the inside, but as you say, not being a car maker, I don't know how other guys do it and things like that. So that's about it for this week. As I said, no new show next week. Obviously I'm not here, but Thursday you will, and if we didn't have the internet you wouldn't have got it either. But now we've got our nice fast internet and everything else, we're having no problems with that. So now I can go back to doing the new shows on a Friday, which frees me up another day in the week. Yay! And everything else like that. So no new show. Obviously you can subscribe, you can order. Orders just won't go out until a week on Thursday. Okay. and everything else like that. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave you with Green Bates. Now, he did the Ice Cold in Alex Austin Ambulance, which took 3rd place in our recently finished Silver Screen SIG. Absolutely amazing work. So until 2 weeks time, everybody happy modelling and take care, and I'll see you soon.